The Young and the Restless recap Friday's full evidence unveiled. The chilling kidnapping of Sharon. The atmosphere in Genoa City was fraught with tension as the investigation into Sharon's mysterious disappearance took a shocking turn. What had initially seemed like a tragic death was now revealed to be a chilling case of abduction. The police, after weeks of investigation, uncovered a crucial piece of evidence, a grainy video that shed new light on Sharon's fate and set the entire community on edge. The video evidence. The breakthrough came when detectives discovered a security camera recording from a remote area near a truck stop. The video showed Sharon struggling against an unidentified figure who forcibly subdued her. Her screams were muffled as the assailant pressed a cloth over her mouth, later confirmed to be soaked in a powerful anesthetic. Moments later, an unconscious Sharon was dragged into an old, rust-colored pickup truck. The kidnapper's appearance was partially concealed by a wide-brimmed hat and a medical mask, leaving little to identify. However, one detail stood out. The figure was a woman, elderly yet surprisingly strong, moving with a sense of purpose that sent chills through those who watched the footage. Reactions and rising suspicions. When the video was played for Sharon's family and friends, reactions were immediate and intense. Nick, Sharon's former husband, felt a mix of anguish and hope. "She's alive," he whispered, barely containing his emotions. The revelation that Sharon was still alive brought a flood of relief, but it also raised harrowing questions. Why had she been taken? And, most disturbingly, was she still safe? Victor Newman, the ever-watchful patriarch of Genoa City, studied the video with a deep frown. There was something about the kidnapper's gait, the shape of her frame, that tugged at his memory. "I've seen this person before," he muttered, his sharp eyes narrowing. His cryptic remark sent ripples of unease through the room. Claire, standing on the sidelines, seemed unusually shaken. Her face paled as the video looped on the screen. Though she tried to mask her unease, her trembling hands betrayed her. For those observant enough, it was clear that Claire knew more than she was letting on. The bigger questions. While the discovery of the video proved Sharon was abducted, it also deepened the mystery. The most glaring question loomed: what did the kidnapper want? So far, no ransom note had been sent, no threats made. The lack of communication puzzled investigators. If the goal wasn't financial, what could drive someone to abduct Sharon and keep her hidden? Was the assailant seeking revenge? Did they hold some personal vendetta? Or worse, was this about ending Sharon's life for reasons only the kidnapper understood? Nick voiced what everyone was thinking: if they haven't sent a demand, why haven't they killed her? What are they waiting for? A desperate warning. Meanwhile, Claire's agitation boiled over into action. She secretly contacted Jordan, a friend, or perhaps an accomplice, linked to the elderly woman seen in the video. In hushed tones, she warned, "Jordan, they've seen the footage. They know it's her. Tell her to let Sharon go. She can still run, but if she doesn't, she'll go to prison for the rest of her life." Claire's cryptic warning suggested she knew more than she had admitted to the police. Why was she protecting the kidnapper? And more importantly, what was her connection to the crime? Nick's determination. Nick, driven by a desperate need to find Sharon, began coordinating with the police and even took matters into his own hands. He pored over maps, looking for isolated locations where the kidnapper might be hiding Sharon. Each passing hour felt like an eternity, and his mind raced with terrifying possibilities. Though relieved that Sharon wasn't dead, Nick couldn't shake the growing dread that time was running out. He vowed to do whatever it took to bring her back, no matter the cost. Victor's suspicions. As Victor continued to review the video, a name surfaced in his mind, though he kept it to himself. His instincts told him that the person behind Sharon's abduction wasn't a random stranger. This was personal. But why would anyone target Sharon, and who had the audacity to pull such a brazen act in Genoa City? Victor's silence only added to the tension. For those who knew him, it was clear he was piecing something together, and when Victor Newman set his mind on solving a mystery, he rarely failed. The next steps, with the evidence mounting and the stakes higher than ever, the race to find Sharon intensified. The video had turned the investigation from a cold trail to a burning pursuit. The elderly woman's identity became the key to unraveling the entire plot, and everyone in Genoa City was on edge. The clock was ticking. Was Sharon alive, waiting to be rescued, or had the kidnapper already taken the unthinkable step? As secrets continued to unravel and motives came to light, one thing was certain: the truth about Sharon's disappearance would shake Genoa City to its core. And those involved, whether out of malice or misguided loyalty, would soon face the consequences of their actions. Claire's confession, a desperate gamble to save Sharon. The weight of guilt became unbearable for Claire. She had been withholding critical information about Sharon's disappearance, and it gnawed at her conscience. Deep down, she knew that every moment she stayed silent only put Sharon in greater danger. Finally, unable to live with herself, Claire made a fateful decision: she would confess everything. The truth comes out. Gathering her courage, Claire approached Nick, Victor, and the police to reveal the shocking truth. "It's Jordan," she admitted, her voice trembling. "She's the one who kidnapped Sharon." The room fell silent, the gravity of her words hitting like a thunderclap. Jordan, an older woman recently released from prison, had a history of cunning manipulation and calculated schemes. Her ability to remain discreet and evasive made her the perfect perpetrator. Claire recounted how she had recently reconnected with Jordan and was drawn into her orbit, though she insisted she didn't know Sharon's exact location. "She's clever," Claire continued. "She keeps everything close to the chest. I don't know where Sharon is, but I swear I'll get her to talk." A dangerous plan. Claire proposed a risky plan to lure Jordan into a false sense of security and extract the truth. Jordan still trusted her, unaware of Claire's growing unease and guilt. This trust would be their only advantage. "I'll make her believe I'm still on her side," Claire promised. "I'll get her to tell me where Sharon is." Nick, furious and desperate, barely contained his anger. "You waited this long to say something? Sharon could be dying somewhere, and you let this happen." His words stung, but Claire stood her ground, insisting she was now fully committed to righting her wrongs. Victor, always the strategist, intervened. "Let her do it. Jordan won't see it coming if Claire plays this right. But remember," he said, fixing Claire with his piercing gaze, "if you betray us or fail, you'll be no better than her." Sharon's dire situation. Meanwhile, the clock was ticking for Sharon. Held captive in an unknown location, she was growing weaker by the hour. Jordan, wary of leaving traces, had kept her prisoner in a secluded, dilapidated cabin deep in the woods. Sharon's hands and feet were bound, her every move monitored by her captor. Jordan's motivations remained a mystery. She hadn't made demands or sent messages to Sharon's family, leaving everyone questioning her endgame. However, Sharon could sense the growing instability in Jordan's demeanor. Her captor seemed torn, muttering to herself about past betrayals and unresolved vendettas. Sharon knew one thing for certain: if help didn't arrive soon, she might not survive. Claire takes action. Determined to gain Jordan's confidence, Claire arranged a meeting under the pretense of discussing their next steps. When she arrived at Jordan's modest apartment, she forced herself to remain calm despite the overwhelming tension. Jordan greeted her with a wary smile, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of doubt. "I've been thinking," Claire began cautiously, "we need to wrap this up before anyone gets closer to figuring things out. It's getting risky." She studied Jordan's reaction, hoping to gauge her trust. Jordan nodded, but her expression remained guarded. "I know what I'm doing," she said sharply. "No one will find her unless I want them to. And I don't want them to." Claire's heart raced. Jordan's cryptic response was both chilling and revealing. "But don't you think it's time to let her go?" "She's just a liability now," Claire ventured, her voice steady but her palms sweating. Jordan stared at her for a long moment. "You've always been loyal, Claire," she said, her tone softening. "That's why I trust you. But don't question me again." The race against time. After leaving Jordan's apartment, Claire immediately relayed the conversation to Nick and Victor. She was certain Sharon was still alive, but knew they were running out of time. She's paranoid but not ready to cut ties with me. I'll keep pushing until she slips. Victor wasted no time organizing a task force to track down Jordan's movements. We'll monitor every step she takes, he said, his voice firm. But Claire, you need to be careful. One wrong move, and she'll disappear, and take Sharon with her. Nick, unable to sit idle, demanded to join the operation. This is my family. I won't let her go through this alone. Claire's final gamble. The next time Claire met with Jordan, she pressed harder, using every ounce of her acting skills to appear loyal and supportive. I've got your back, she told Jordan with a reassuring smile. But we need to plan our next move carefully. Where are you keeping her? We should check on her before anything goes wrong. Jordan hesitated, her eyes narrowing. For a moment, Claire thought she had pushed too far. But then Jordan relented, her paranoia momentarily giving way to trust. She's fine, Jordan muttered. The cabin in the woods, it's secure. No one will find her there. Claire masked her relief, knowing she had finally cracked the secret. She kept the conversation casual, not wanting to tip off Jordan. But inside, she was already planning Sharon's rescue. The rescue mission, armed with the critical information, Nick, Victor, and the police quickly mobilized. They located the cabin Jordan had mentioned and prepared for a high-risk rescue operation. Claire, though racked with nerves, insisted on coming along to ensure they got to Sharon in time. When they arrived at the remote location, the tension was palpable. The team approached cautiously, not knowing what they would find inside. As they stormed the cabin, they discovered Sharon, weak but alive, bound and barely conscious. Relief swept through the group as they freed her and carried her to safety. The aftermath. Jordan, realizing her plan had unraveled, attempted to flee but was swiftly apprehended by the police. Claire's involvement in the ordeal was brought to light, and while she faced harsh criticism from Sharon's loved ones, her cooperation ultimately helped save Sharon's life. Nick, overwhelmed with gratitude, stayed by Sharon's side as she recovered. Though the scars of her ordeal would take time to heal, one thing was clear: she was finally safe, and justice would be served. As for Claire, her journey to redemption was far from over. But in the end, her choice to confess and act had made all the difference.